All right, welcome to the Cambridgeshire Cats TV. Let's call it TV for the new year. I'm absolutely delighted to announce that to well, my left or my right, depending on how you're watching, we have announced today our new head coach, Russ Bigbie. Russ, hello, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Dan. Extremely pleased with the announcement and the appointment that I've just received.
Yeah, it's great. And we're all super excited to have you. You're going to take over from Coach Andy moving into the 2025 season. And we genuinely couldn't be happier. I know your phone is blowing up, so we're really not going to keep you too long. But we wanted to
Okay.
give everybody watching just a little flavor of who Coach Russ is before we do much more with you, much more content, and a little bit of background over the coming weeks. So let's just get started with question number one. When did you first start in your American football journey? I'm going to imagine playing.
I started in a very unusual place at the end of the UK in Cornwall for the Duchy Destroyers back in 1988. I've
1988,
been
excellent.
involved with
There's
British game.
there's going to be a lot of players that don't understand those number sequences, but I certainly do. So 1988 was the beginning of your journey, but when did you start coaching?
Coaching, I started in 2014 with the Hertfordshire Cheetahs. I stepped away from the playing field and I got a coaching a position, offensive line coach at the Hertfordshire Cheetahs.
Oh, amazing. So from 1988 to 2014, you were, I'm guessing, on and off or as a player. And I'm sure you take a lot of that experience into your coaching role. And then obviously a decade, actually, a decade of coaching now. Um, who was your most influential coach in all that time?
Undoubtedly, my old mentor, my friend, rest in peace, Coach Bob Shaw. He is known around the Britball community and is forever in our hearts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you take a lot from Coach Shaw and many other coaches that you've kind of worked with or worked under. Um, you, I know personally, but let's get it out there. I know you've played in a number of places. Just give us a flavour of where you've played. What's the different countries you've played in? Although Cornwall can be considered a different country to most of the rest of it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I've played most of in the UK, several teams, mainly in the southeast and South Midlands and the southwest. But I've also played in Mesquite, Nevada, USA, in All-Star games out in the USA. Yeah.
And I believe, if my memory serves, from a long 3 hour drive down to Bristol, that you were on the offensive line with our former assistant head coach, Coach Brian.
Absolutely. The both of us played in that game. It was a fantastic experience going out there. The game moved so quickly. The practices out there were out of this world. So fast. Had to hit the ground running, and the experience to go out to America and play, mix it up with the Americans was phenomenal.
Amazing. Yeah, that must have been amazing going up against some Americans, going toe to toe with, let's be honest, the best around there, particularly in those days. I know Europe and Japan have certainly caught up in the number of age groups over here and the women's game, but certainly back there they would have been easily the dominant force. The other thing I wanted people to get an understanding of you're very multifaceted when it comes to the game. Everyone should know we coached on the defensive line, particularly in the defensive side of the ball, at the Cats last season. But you were actually brought over originally to coach on the offensive line. Just give us a flavor, just give everyone a flavor of how many different groups or positional groups you've actually coached across, and how much you've got in.
Well, prominently, I've been an offensive coach. The offensive line, running backs, wide receivers, and
You are quick.
obviously, yeah, I didn't demonstrate too well, but the fundamentals and the thought process and stuff, I coached quite well. including the blocking. And then obviously with yourself coaching the defensive line last season at the Cats, which we had a huge success up front, and also special teams. I'd like to get involved with special teams. There's I could progress into and transverse into stuff that I already know into special teams. That gives a positive thing with the special teams. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's one of the best. And I think at its core, apart from your person, but you as a person, I actually think that's one of the key, huge benefits you're bringing to the table as a new head coach is that you actually have seen, played, and coached both sides of the ball or all three facets of the game. There actually isn't a player that can't come to you for advice, and that complete oversight. I don't think there's a coach that can come to you and not get some advice and get some learning. I think that's a huge thing that not it's not always necessary, but I think if you certainly look in some of the NFL quarters, more coaches are making sure they coach both sides of the ball so that when they do step up to the big job, they can actually converse in a positive and a strong manner across the board. So I think that's great. So not to keep you too long, I just want to get again a little bit more of a flavor of your coaching philosophies. So what coaching philosophies do you have? And I will just tell everyone watching, I already know them. They're drilled into my head. They've been screamed at about here many, many times. But I want you to say it to everybody watching, not just for me to say it.
um, I'll just give you a little one for now because there are quite a few, but the one that comes to mind first is train hard, play harder.
Excellent. So we're going to leave you with train hard, play harder. It's not the one I was going to go with. I was going to relentless. I heard relentless about 4 billion times over the summer, so much so that I used to wake up and say it, and then I incorporated it into my work life, into meetings. Everything was about being relentless. But
Yeah,
for me,
absolutely.
for me personally, and I know from the club, we just want to say a huge congratulations. We are so excited, not just for 2025, but also beyond, and everything you're going to bring to the table and push us, the excellence that you pushed last year and taking that from, as I say, all three facets of the ball. So the new head coach of the Cambridgeshire Cats, I'm super proud to say it. Coach Russ, we are so happy to have you. So thank you so much for just taking this small amount of time. To everybody watching, we're going to have loads more content from Coach Russ, not just
Absolutely.
throughout the season, but in the near future to get much more of a flavour of who he's about. We'll watch out for more announcements because there are some huge changes behind the scenes, and I'm sure there'll be many people that are blowing up his phone to make contact. I'm just going to say this. Cambridgeshire Cats are a adult team, so it's 18 plus. So get in contact if you're 18, if you get to the gym, if you're fit, you're strong, you're reliable, male and female. We are absolutely looking for players. If you're in the game and you're looking to transverse, we're looking for coaches. Please get in touch. You can contact Coach Russ. You can contact any of us across all of the platforms. We will post up Coach Russ's platforms, social platforms as well. But Coach Russ, last word with you. What do you want to say?
I just want to say how deeply honoured I am to be appointed the head coach of this fantastic football club. They've been around since the mid '80s. I've been a player for this club on a couple of occasions for a few seasons. Their attitude of winning is paramount, and we are going to continue that going into the 2025 season.
Thank you, coach. The new
You're
head
welcome.
coach. Love those words.
Me too.
See ya.
Thank you, Coach Dan. I really appreciate the call. Thank you.